today we're going to be talking about
how we met and how we got together.
Yeah, from two different standpoints, because he sees things differently than I see them, obviously. So we're going to let him go first. And yeah, I haven't heard this story in a long time. We have laughed about it a while ago, but not recently. So we're going to see what he has to say.
It's just funny because we both have two different viewpoints on it. And I see it like completely different than she sees it.
And this was 5.5 years ago. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to let him tell his side of the story first. So go ahead.
All right. So I transferred from a different high school to the high school that she was currently at, where we graduated from. And I was awkward back then. Like, it was horrible. Like, I was awkward. But anyway, so I didn't have no game. I didn't have no game at all. But, so I had basketball PE, sports conditioning PE, which she was in. So, I think it was like the first week. I finally seen her, and I just thought she was cute. I had no game. So I'm over here talking to her friends that she knew. I'm like, hey, bro, like, what's her name? Who is she? They're like, oh, that's Destiny, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm going to try to talk to her. But I was, like, all nervous. I didn't even talk to her. Like, I would do, like, little goofy stuff to get her attention. Because I didn't have no game. I was just, like, I was funny back then. Like, I'm still funny, but that was my way of, like, impressing her. So I would, like, be funny and goofy. So the people that she knew, they was like, oh, yeah, bro, like, she like goofy dudes, like, just be funny. So back then, freshman year, I didn't have no hair. So
shiny ball.
I was, shiny ball, like Michael Jordan ball. And so it was like this thing I could do in my head. It was like, I called it like Wi-Fi. And I would like squinch my head. And it would like create lines in my head. And they were like, hey, bro, just like do it. Like, she'll think it's funny. So we in the gym in the bleachers. And we call her over. We were like, hey, Destiny, come here. And she like comes to the top of the bleachers. And I'm like, Wi-Fi. And she just like looked dead at me, like she didn't laugh, like she didn't do nothing. So I'm sitting there, her friends is like laughing at me, and she just like sitting there like it's not funny, and I'm sitting there looking dumb. So she just leaves. She like walked out the gym, and I'm like, I thought you guys said it would be funny, and they're like laughing. They was like, well, usually she likes stuff like that. So anyway, fast forward from that story. I'm just being goofy like all the time, trying to get her attention. I'll like try to show off in sports conditioning, doing like the extra stuff, trying to be the fastest one, overlapping them, like not cutting corners. I'm just trying to show off, doing a whole bunch of push-ups, trying to get her attention. She started noticing though. I caught her. She was staring at me, doing push-ups, because I was doing diamond push-ups. And I caught her staring at me. So I knew I was getting her attention. But she was playing hard to get back then. She was not, she didn't want to show her emotions and that she liked me. So she over here playing hard to get, blah, 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 whatever, cool. And then after that, we started talking a little bit. I would text her. I would like text her every day. And she would not reply. She'd be like, oh, I'm busy. Like, I don't text back fast. And me being all gullible and I'm like, oh yeah, she busy, just hit me when you can. And I'm just like blowing her up all the time. She not texting back. And then so I'm telling her friends like, bro, tell her to text me. I was one of those. And like looking back at it, it's kind of sad, but it worked. But yeah, so that's how we met. We started talking. And she feeling me, so she's like, oh, like we started talking. And I find out her favorite candy, so I might surprise her and I'm bringing her, she likes Lucas, like the Mexican candy. So I might getting her the little shake bottles, all that, the suckers, and I might bring it to school. And I'm like surprising her and I'm like, oh, I got you some candy. Like just, that was my way of like showing her I liked her. I'd do that like every other week, probably every day. And like that's how I got her attention. So we started talking, she started feeling me a little bit, started being goofy. We started hanging out at lunch, this and that, And then, yeah, that's not pretty much. It is a lot more. I'm trying to, like, remember. I'll let you start. I'll let you take over.
So, first off, he's being very hyperbolic. Let's get that out there. I was not like he kind of painted a picture as if I was like the famous cheerleader, and I was like,
Nah, she was famous.
no,
Like everybody knew her. Everybody knew her.
no. So first off, I was a basketball player, and at the time, I was really focused on sports, and I really didn't want any distractions at the time. Um, so my main goal was just basketball, home, and take care of what I had to take care of at home. And I really like the last thing on my mind was like trying to talk to somebody, and he was just goofy, and he was trying hard, and you could tell, but I was not budging because I just didn't want to be in a relationship. So I'm like, I'm not gonna sit here and entertain you. Like, I'm not. He used to text me all the time. Like, I remember I would be so annoyed. Like, oh my gosh, here it comes. He used to be those like, can I have a hug type of people, and I used to be like, okay, like I would never be rude or act like I'm all that. I just really did not want to be like I didn't want to be in a relationship. So how it all started was he was in my sports conditioning class, and there was a few guys I knew from middle school, and he knew them from coming, like he had just started coming to the school, so of course they like started hanging out and talking or whatever, and he would always go to them and try to like, oh, could Destiny, whatever, blah blah blah. And I was just like, they'd come like, oh, he trying to talk to you, and I just be like, leave me alone. Like I would think it was a joke, like you guys are trying to like, no. So we were in the gym once, and my point of view was I was sitting with my friend on the bleachers, and there's him and like all these guys I knew from like middle school, and they were like, "Oh, Destiny, come up here," and I come, and he was like, "Do you need Wi-Fi?" And he like squishes his head, and I'm thinking they're trying to like take advantage of him, like be rude to him, like leave him alone type of thing, like don't be rude to him, leave him alone. They all knew I wasn't about to budge, like I was not trying to be a relationship. I'm not about to talk to him, like leave me alone. So I felt like they were trying to use the situation and get a laugh out of it. So I like had an attitude because I was just like, dude, like I'm not like stop messing with, like stop telling him to do stuff, to do tricks and stuff. Like no. So I like got irritated, and I was just like, I ended up leaving, and I never meant it to come off rude as to him, but that's just like how it happened. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then later down the line, he like stopped. It was like a point of time where he kind of like fell back and like kind of got the memo, like I wasn't trying to be in a relationship. And then a part of me kind of like missed him being annoying.
Me bugging her every day.
Yeah, it was like, wow, like he like stopped giving me hugs and stopped being annoying, and it's just like that's what I wanted. But then when he actually did it, I was like, oh, actually maybe I do like his attention, like maybe that is something that I wanted to do. So I ended up texting him. We started going back and forth, and then one thing led to another. Like we had a couple lunches together, and then yeah, the whole candy situation. He brought me candy a couple times, like randomly, like oh I got you something. It was like one time he bought me a bunch of like
a big bag.
Yeah, it was like a Fufulas bag, and he had a bunch of like baby, like I call them baby Lucases, like in little bottles, and he had like a bunch of them, and he's like, oh, I got you something, and I was like, oh, thank you. Like I never asked him for them. He just used to like randomly come up and give me stuff, and I used to be like, oh, thank you. Like one time he had like Subway. He's like, oh, do you want this Subway? And I was just like, oh, okay, thank you. Like it would just be like random gifts, and I would just be
random
like,
acts
okay,
of kindness to win her over.
I was like, okay, and that's not the reason it budged, because I told you guys the real reason it happened. He literally, it was just by him just like when he stopped giving me that attention, like when he stopped saying, hey Destiny, or stopped giving me a hug and stuff like that, I actually was like, dang, like I actually like this hug. I actually liked him. And there was only one time we were staring at him in PE because he was doing diamond push-ups, and I was like, oh, I never seen people do diamond push-ups before. I never saw it before.
Like, oh my gosh, she's so buff and strong, and I caught her, just doing my thing. I caught her.
No. So we asked him to like do more, like, oh, do another diamond push-up, blah blah blah. He was like, oh, alright, like he was the coolest thing on the planet, and I was just like, okay, like, but yeah, we ended up falling in love and been together ever since. Pretty much, that's the story. Missing a key
part though. So she had a basketball tournament. How I made it official though. So
okay.
Yeah, so we started talking. Watching each other games, like more serious. Like I would watch her play, she watched me play because like we were talking now. Mm-hmm. So she had a tournament like down the hill somewhere, and so I rode in the van with her, and I like got a promise ring, and so
I still
wasn't it? Yeah, wasn't it on the way up there or on the way back? I gave it to you.
on the way
I think it was
up
on
there
the way
before
up there. So like right before we got in the gym, I was like, I have something for you. And she was like, what? And I was like, I want you to be my girlfriend. And I like gave her a promise ring, like I'm proposing or something. But like that's how it was.
It was
I was
pretty
like,
big too. We were like 15, and I was
yeah,
like,
we were 15. And I'm like, I like pulled it out of my pocket. I didn't even have like a box, and I like had it in my pocket, and I like showed her. She's like, oh my gosh, like yes. And I like put it on her finger, yeah, and I gave her a basketball, and it was the Love and Basketball quote, and
I'll play you for what your heart. It was like in quotes, and it had like 6, 15, 15.
Yeah, it was
the
the
like
day
our
we got
official
together.
Day. I still have the basketball flat at my mom's house, and I still have the ring. Actually, I would show it to you guys, but it's on my jewelry, and it's all rubbed off and like green and everything else. But I still kept it. So it's a pretty old ring. But like at that age, I was like, hold on, like, I knew it was fake, obviously, but like it was pretty big, and I was like, I never like knew you could get those from Walmart or I didn't know stuff like that. So I was like, whoa, like. But it was a pretty cool experience.
It was the thought that counted. Yeah, I was just sweet. I would like overly do it. Now that I think about it, I was like, nah, I wasn't doing the most. It worked. So I would say, yeah, I did just the right amount to get her attention. If I didn't bug her so much, if I wasn't so annoying.
Right. If he didn't bug me, I wouldn't have missed him bugging me. If he would have just been chill and nonchalant, I wouldn't have paid him no mind. And we would have just went our separate ways, and it would have just been perfectly
I was just out there. I was like overly obnoxious. I'd be like, oh, wear my sweater. I'd tell her like wear my hoodies and stuff.
Oh, aren't you cold? Don't you want to wear my jacket?
Just so she can wear it.
Yeah, I can.
And I feel like she's my girl, but we weren't even together yet. But yeah, that was my like way of getting her.
He had like this purple and green and black Kobe jacket that he still has to this day. And we would literally just be random day, and he's like, "Aren't you cold? Like, don't you want a jacket?" And I'm like,
"You can have my sweater."
Yeah, I can take your jacket. Like, that's fine. Like, yeah. But he still has it. It's old, but he still has it. So that's pretty much our story wrapped up. That's how we met. We trained in basketball. We trained for basketball together, and yeah, we bought matching basketball shoes. That basketball journey was like a whole nother video in itself. We have a bunch of basketball memories, tournaments we went to with each other, experiences that we went through. So that's gonna be a whole nother basketball vlog video.
Man, after I secured her, we sit in the same spot every day at lunch.
Yeah, we literally just like were up each other's butt every single day. Like literally, if he saw him, he saw me. Like we were literally bind by the hip, which we still technically kind of are now. But we were bad. Like every single lunch, passing period, we literally would like make sure we met up with each other. He would walk me in my class, or we would walk in the direction of our classes, and then split off right after that class ended. Like every passing period, every lunch, every break, everything, we were literally together. Like.
Yeah.
You couldn't even put a nice piece in
Text
this.
her phone, meet me at this spot, we gonna meet here, blah, blah, blah. Like, we start getting lunch delivered. Like, I would get Subway. I make sure I get her a sandwich. We go to the same spot every day, eat all lunch, talk. And yeah, right after school, we meet up again.
I would go to his house, or he would come to my house. Or, like, the only time we were really separate is when we had like basketball practice for our specific team, but when we trained, we were together. Like we trained the same. We had the same trainer. We literally, it was pretty crazy.
And now we're here, 5.5 years later, going on 6.
Yep, and we're in our own place. And yeah, time flew by. Yeah. Like seriously, we looked up and we're like 5 years. How? When? The time just literally disappeared. We were literally the other day like talking about like thinking of like what we did for our anniversaries. Like what do we do for our first year anniversary? What do we do for our second year? Like we literally used to celebrate months.
Oh yeah, all right. To tell them our first month. So I had to travel. I had a tournament in Vegas. We were only together a month,
and we bought.
And she went with me to Vegas for like 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and we were only a month. We got gifts,
for each
everything.
other.
We were
Like,
oh, it's
candy.
our 1 month. Yeah.
I got him socks. Like, I stayed in the hotel room with his mom. Of course, he stayed with his team. But literally, like, a month in, and I'm freaking riding around on a
They're
freaking bus.
cheering. She had the shirt. She was cheering. Already the biggest cheerleader. And we were only a month in. And yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And we still have that bond. Like, we don't do nothing without each other. Like, she's always there supporting. Vice versa. If she doing something, I'm always there supporting. So we grew that bond over the years, and we're still going strong.
Yep.
Many more years to come.
And now we're documenting it so we can look back on these memories instead of having to like verbally like, oh, remember when blah blah blah. We'll have videos to look back on. So thank you guys for watching this video, you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Give it a thumbs up as well. Turn on your notifications. Hit that notification bell.
We have so much more videos to come. And yeah, thanks for watching.